Okay, Cal, I'm ready to record one of the best episodes in Canucks podcast history. You know why? Because we're going to talk about what's going to be the best day in Vancouver Canucks history. The day they draft Connor Bedard. Hopefully this is one of the best days in your life right now. You know why? You're listening to Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and thanks for hitting the play button on today's episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and part-time credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. And before we dive into the show today, we want to thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. On today's show, we're going to talk about what's going to be the best day in Canucks history, Kyle. You know, the day that they draft Connor Bedard. So on today's episode, we're going to look at where Connor Bedard will slot in on the Canucks roster in 2023-24. We'll also take a look at the overall, and a way too early look, I might add, but an overall look at the roster projection for this year. But first and foremost, Kyle, how you feeling about the Canucks drafting, or being only 3 days away from drafting Connor Bedard?
Yeah, drafting him, winning the draft lottery, same thing. You know, I think if any team, well, whatever team does win the lottery, you know, whatever team does do it, they could start selling Connor Bedard jerseys right away. I don't know if that's illegal. It might as well be legal because it's going to happen. This dude is something else, the greatest gift to hockey since Connor McDavid. And I just started dreaming about it again today. A 3% chance. Yo, Beggsy, you and I have a 3% chance of making it. Doing this thing. We're going to do it. We're not going to stop till we do it, okay? We're going to do the impossible. So why can't the impossible happen to us? The West Coast, the best coast, the Vancouver Canucks. We're winning the draft lottery on Monday. Connor Bedard is a Vancouver Canuck. And in 2 years, the Canucks are winning the Stanley Cup. No guarantee next year, but in 2 years, the Canucks are winning the Stanley Cup, all right? My name, Kyle Bhawan. That's Trevor Beggs. That way, yeah, that's Trevor Beggs. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. We get to the comments at the end of the show. A lot of new people watching us today. Thank you. We love you. Subscribe, hit the like button. If you're not watching this, we love you too, okay? Beggsy and I from Surrey, we're leading with love. We're putting that out there. Boom, bam. Beggsy, let's do this.
Yeah, leading with love, leading with positivity. You know, that's one of the reasons why the Canucks are going to draft Connor Bedard on Monday. And one quick rule for this episode, Kyle. I don't even know if I have the power to do this. I don't think I do. But you can't use the word if the Canucks draft Connor Bedard. It's will. It's will. If you say if, it's an automatic 30-second mute. Okay.
Is it if or when? Is it will or when? When? When?
Yeah, either one of those. Like something that's more definitive. When and will is definitive because the Canucks will draft Connor Bedard. You know, there's nothing iffy here. Okay, like never mind the 3% odds. Okay, it's happening. We're putting that out in the atmosphere. So, you know, when the Canucks draft Connor Bedard on Monday, you know, this guy, he's a right shot center. There's so many directions they could go with this. You know, I think, you know, you could have Pettersson, JT Miller, and Bedard all at center as a 1-2-3 punch. You know, and again, like that would be a huge jump. I know Bedard is, you know, a generational talent. It would be a pretty massive jump, though, to go and be an NHL center right away as an 18-year-old. I certainly think he could do it. But I was tantalized by something else, Kyle. So I'm going to go fourth line up just for dramatic purposes here. But
can I say something too? Can I say something before you start? Like, well, I'll say two things. Okay. The first thing I'll say is you just said that, and I know the ages were different, but it's so interesting to me how there was a chance that Pettersson was going to come to the Canucks and start on the wing because we were afraid, you know, could he do it? It's NHL's a man's game. It's different than Sweden. This guy's a smaller player, blah, blah, blah. Could he do it? Yo, you got to let the best of the best just do it. Just do it. They're the ones that paved the way. They're paving their lane. They're doing it. They're making hockey a better place. They're the reason why we're here. Don't get in the way of Connor Bedard. If this guy is a centerman and he's been dominating as a centerman since he's been, 5, 6, 7 years old? I've seen videos of this guy. Apparently, like since it was always raining in Vancouver, where he's from, he was doing a lot of the work inside the house, rollerblading inside the house, getting it done. All right. The second thing I want to do is this right here. Okay, we're jumping right into it, man, before we start this. Okay, I know no ifs and buts. We're going to do this all episode. Okay, let's sim this lottery. What are we going to get? Okay, we didn't win. We didn't see that. Continue, Begsy. Continue.
Yep.
Continue.
I didn't see anything.
I didn't see it. Continue.
So with Connor Bedard, yeah, I think long term, when the Canucks draft him, he should be playing center for sure. For the starting lineup though for 2024, I did go in a different direction. And you know why I went in a different direction, Kyle? Because I like fun. Okay, I like fun hockey. I like fun in life. So again, for dramatic purposes, I'm going to go from the fourth line upwards. And maybe once we get past all this Bedard hype, we can talk about kind of the rest of the projections as well later on in this episode of Locked On Canucks. So for the fourth line, I have Dakota Joshua, Nils Zavon, Vasily Podkolzin. Okay, so shut up Podkolzin, making the team out of camp. Fourth line wing, energy level. Let's see that energy. Let's go. Third line, I have Anthony Beauvillier and Niels Höglander, centered by Andrew Kopp. So,
whoa,
in case you haven't heard it, go check it out. Our episode from a couple weeks ago. Everydayers know it, but it was trading Brock Besser for 7 pricey centers, potential third line centers. So again, maybe it's Garland, maybe it's Beauvillier, but I went with Besser being traded to the Detroit Red Wings for Andrew Kopp. Besser getting paid $6.6 million for 2 more seasons. Andrew Kopp making $5.6 million for 4 more seasons. had a bit of a down year in Detroit. He's 2 years older as well, but I think he's a pocket player. And I think he's probably exactly what the Canucks are looking for in terms of third line center. He's overpaid for sure, but get away from the expectations of that. And he'd be a great third line center on a playoff team.
You're nuts,
so,
dude.
Again,
what's wrong? Okay, are you on drugs? This guy going straight to it, man. This guy going straight.
I'm just saying, I made the roster projections and had to all fit under the cap. So
okay, all right, let's go.
We'll get into it. Okay, so that's the bottom 6. So let's get to the top 6. Second line, I have Ilya Mikheyev, Connor Garland, centered by JT Miller. So I think you know where I'm going with this, Kyle. The top line for your Vancouver Canucks on opening night in 2023-24 is Elias Pettersson, centering Andrei Kuzmenko and Connor Bedard. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun hockey right there, buddy. That's fun hockey right there. And look, again,
hockey.
Connor Bedard, I see him as a long time. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I keep cutting off because my head's hurting now. Again, you watch more hockey than I do, but I've watched the highlights. Don't Kuzmenko and Bedard wear the same number?
Ooh, you might be right, actually.
96. Yeah. I think I'm right on that. And if that's the case.
Oh, no, Bedard's 98. Sorry, Bedard's 98.
There you go. My bad. There you go. Things happen. Maybe I don't know the greatest Canuck of all time as well as I think I do. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Yeah. 96, 98, and 40. Is that the biggest sum of numbers on a line of all time? Potentially.
It's got to be up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Highest sum of numbers and probably the most exciting line in NHL history is about to be formed with Kuzmenko, Pettersson, and Connor Bedard. So, yeah, I think long term, again, you can go Pettersson, Bedard, Miller down the middle. I think the team's got Andrew Kopp. That's a lot of centers, but we'll see. You can also move JT Miller back to wing and have Pettersson and Bedard as your top 2 centers. Like there's endless possibilities when the Canucks draft Connor Bedard.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. I think they can afford that luxury if they do go out and get another center, and that luxury is putting Bedard on the wing. And you know what? I think I'm overemphasizing this whole luxury thing. Again, this guy's done his thing. He's become the best prospect, the best player outside the NHL by playing center. Maybe that's not the smart thing to do. Is it a situation where they move JT to the wing and make Bedard the center?
Yeah, I think that would be the long-term solution here for the Canucks. I've liked what I've seen from JT Miller as a center, maybe more than most people. But he's had some really iffy moments in terms of, the back check and everything like that. So, yeah, I think JT Miller probably is. He's certainly not a bad bet on the wing. So I think going Pettersson and Bedard down the middle, and then have that duo of Kuzmenko, Pettersson, and then Bedard and Miller. That's money for the Canucks right there.
And someone to protect Bedard a bit, That's something else, man. I'm getting excited now, man. You never know, bro. 50 plus years of BS for the Vancouver Canucks. No luck at all. You've read the story, right? The first ever draft lottery involving the Vancouver Canucks. I believe there was an instance where the Canucks believed that they won it because of what was pulled out, but it was a
Yeah.
mistake or something, and Buffalo ended
Yeah.
up winning it. Like, that's how it started for the Vancouver Canucks, and maybe, just maybe, it all comes to a halt. The curse that is the draft lottery curse, because we're gonna jump from 11-1 to draft the Vancouver's own Connor Bedard, and Connor Bedard would do great things for all of us, man, in the entertainment industry. Okay, Kyle Bhawan, right? The studio life, we making things. Trying to put on for the city. Shout out to everyone. Manila Gray just dropped a great project a couple weeks ago, right? Shout out to Manila Gray. All right. Let's add to the pot. A lot of music coming out of the city. Cody Lawless peak. Let's add to the entertainment industry in Vancouver by getting Connor Bedard here. And Bexy, now you're gonna piss me off, bro. This is why I didn't want to do this too, bro. Why wasn't the game plan get Connor Bedard from the jump? They had to make all these moves, and I understand why, because I've heard Talk It now. A lot of interviews over the last couple of days. He was just on Sportsnet 650 as well with Halford and Bruff. Really good interview. I get it, man, because they wanted to get somebody in that could implement new habits, because the habits weren't right for this team. The character on this team was bad. It was lazy. It was sluggish. It was last place because, again, of the habits. They wanted somebody in there early to establish new habits, and that allowed the coach's bump to happen and decrease our Connor Bedard odds. That being said, throw the habits out the window. You know what fixes habits? Winning. You know who can get you to the promised land, get you more points? Connor Bedard. Excellence. Players. Winning. Mojo, makes you want to come to the rink a little bit earlier and stay longer at the rink. Right? We'll get to more of the Rick Tocchet conversation maybe in the second segment, because I heard a lot of things that I did like. But Begsy, continue before I keep rambling here.
Yeah, we'll cut to break, and on the other side, we'll take a look at the rest of my way too early look at the Canucks roster in 2023-24 with Connor Bedard, because some moves had to be made to make this team cap compliant. So we'll touch on the full roster on the other side. But before we do that, again, when the Canucks draft Connor Bedard, they're going to be a future championship team. And hey, for a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure that every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Wow. eBay Motors, I'm telling you, man. Well, if you need an air freshener, they got you. Okay? Locked On Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, Connor Bedard, a Vancouver Canuck. It happened. Congratulations. That being said, I do want to run it again. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I do want to run it again. Let's run the draft lottery to start off this segment. Let's see what happens. And no, it didn't happen again. And that didn't happen.
I'm going to pretend I didn't see that either.
Yeah, we didn't see that.
Oh, man. All right, let's look at the rest of the Canucks roster I came up with here for 2023-24 when the Canucks draft Connor Bedard. So we've gone through the forwards. Again, the major change was trading Brock Besser for Andrew Kopp. Nils Höglander with the team. I had him re-signing on a 1-year, $1.25 million deal. So just above that AHL cutoff where you can bear the whole salary. Again, he's waiver eligible as well. So something to think of there. On defense, I have Quinn Hughes and Ethan Bear on the first pairing. Bear re-signs a 3-year deal with $2.75 million. Shout out to Evolving Hockey. That's their contract model, what they predicted for him. And then shout out to The Athletic and Drance as well. They also wrote about that recently. So Quinn Hughes and Ethan Bear on your first pairing. Second pairing, I have Ryan Graves signing with the Canucks, a 4-year deal worth $5 million a season. You could argue maybe it's a bit pricey, but I am loath to see OEL come back to this team and play with Filip Hronek, which it sounds like is a possibility. So I have Ryan Graves and Filip Hronek on your second pair. I think it's a much stronger second pair than what the Canucks have been rolling out in OEL and Myers. Oh, and speaking of OEL, he's been bought out because, again, the Canucks are right up against it this season. It's going to be hard to move cap space. He's the get out of jail free card. I know it's going to cost a lot down the road, but this team's trying to win next season. You got to buy out OEL. Kyle and I talked about that on another episode here at Locked On Canucks. Every dayers know that, but go back to our podcast feed and check that one out. And on the third pair, I have Jack Rathbone just battling ahead of Kyle Burrows and Nikita Hirose in training camp, winning that third pair left side role and playing with Tyler Myers. And then in net, Patrick Demko, Spencer Martin, scratches Kyle Burrows, Nikita Hirose, and Phil DiGiuseppe.
Yeah, I think this has to be talked about, and it will be talked about more on Monday when we win the draft lottery. If Connor Bedard, or when Connor Bedard becomes a Canuck officially, it will happen. Aquilini will make the phone call to Alvin and say, "Don't worry, I'm gonna bite the bill, and I'm gonna bite the bill for 12 years, 13 years. I'm gonna pay OEL millions and millions and millions of dollars to get out of here, never come back to Vancouver again, because Bedard is the ticket. He's the ticket. I know that money will go against the cap, but Aquilini will have no problem, again, spending millions after doing that for so many years on players and coaches that weren't doing anything for his organization, because Bedard's the ticket. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win some rounds, and Aquilini is going to be racking in the dough. So Bedard is even more important than we think.
Yeah, that's a great point.
He's the key to get OEL out of here.
Yeah.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson, again, one of the worst trades in Vancouver Canucks history. Jim Benning.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you got to be able, like, speaking about a guy that should never be allowed to come back to Vancouver, Jim Benning, bro. I'm telling you, man, 10-year ban at least. I know he played for the Canucks, and he's probably a nice guy, did a lot of good work for the community, but you also made a lot of people sad and aggravated, and just to have that be your last move, your last big move before you got out of here 4 months later, 5 months later, gross. And actually, no, he got, when did he get, he got fired, right? Like month
December
after
2021, he got fired, and the trade was July 2021.
Yeah. So this is, that's dark times, man.
Yeah.
I like the lineup, though. I like the lineup.
Yeah.
I like the lineup. Continue.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think off the hop there, you said that dreaded IF word, but I don't have the power to mute you, and you made a great point. So we'll give you a mulligan there. Again, I think that's, again, great point you made with Bedard and OEL. I just think in general, OEL in this roster next season is a bad idea. And I know it's an expensive buyout, but again, the cap is supposed to go up a little bit more when, all those COVID paybacks are done in the near future. I believe it's almost by next season for sure. They should be done. NHL's making record revenues right now, so it can't be too far down the line. So yeah, I'm a big fan of buying OEL out. Ryan Graves, I know we've talked about Gavrikov.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Graves is probably the other big name left shot defenseman out there. I was writing for the Canucks to trade for this guy like 2 to 3 years ago before he ended up going to the Devils. I think he got traded there for a 3rd round pick, and it's just like, yeah, this guy is a good top 4 defenseman. He's not perfect by any means, and probably I'd say $5 million a season is probably a bit of an overpay, but compared to paying Ekman-Larsson $7.26 million, like, just pay him to be gone. He was so bad last season, and I don't see that getting much better. The last thing I wanted to say is that, with trading Besser for Kopp, with the OEL buyout, the Canucks are still only they only have $2.4 million in cap space next season. So that's what I mean. That's what I got. Connor Bedard. Exactly.
It's all good.
It doesn't matter. You got Connor Bedard, and he got $2.4 million in cap space. The most cap space this team has had in years. There you go.
Yeah, we're winning, man. We're winning. Okay, let's touch on this Taka thing that I've been hearing over the last couple of days. Again, he went on a podcast, I believe, with Shane O'Brien, and was talking about, Quinn Hughes, vocal leader, Elias Pettersson, quiet guy, blah, blah, blah. I feel as if we are going to see Quinn Hughes become the captain of the Vancouver Canucks. And then a couple days later, he was on Halford and Bruff. Is it Halford and Bruff or Halford and Bruff? It's Bruff, right? It's Bruff.
Yeah, it's Halford and Bruff, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he's on the show, and he talked about Kuzmenko and JT Miller. He didn't like single these guys out. He was asked questions about these guys. I think he was asked about how, why Kuzmenko was being benched sometimes, and how does JT Miller excel in his 30s, and both Both times, somewhere in his answers, he talked about fitness. Talked about fitness. Talked about diet. Talked about working out. It's got to start now. It's got to start now. You can't just wait till August to start skating again, especially if every year you stop playing hockey in early April. That's not the way it should go. You got to get the head start, and it's got to start now. So, uh, just May long weekend is coming up. That's it. That's the last cabin trip with the family, yo. After that trip, everyone come back home. Come back to the other home. Come back to Vancouver, right? See if Trevor Linden will do you guys a favor, right? Just give you guys a whole gym. Club 16, Surrey. Just take it. Take it from months. Y'all can have it from my city to yours. Just train. And just train.
Yeah.
Push-ups.
Yeah.
Chin-ups. Skate. Make it happen.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of takeaways from talking about fitness and health there, and that was that JT Miller is hired. I think it was a live-in personal chef. Now he turned to 30. Got to take care of that body, and this guy's making a lot of money. So he seems like a dedicated guy, and I mean that's good news to hear. I like what he brought up about Crosby and Kopitar just being animals in the gym, and he talked about in Pittsburgh. Crosby would get the team, almost the whole team, to come back 3 to 4 weeks ahead of schedule to start training together.
Yeah.
And I hope we see something similar in Vancouver. I mean, Crosby got the team to do that after the team won the cup, and we're celebrating into June. So that's dedication, like this guy led the charge early, and then they went on to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. That's the kind of leadership you need.
That's professionalism for a team that plays in Canada that's been bad for over a decade, that hasn't given this fan base anything in over a decade. And again, plays in Canada, the hockey matters here. Bring it. Bring it. And whatever y'all been doing for years and 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 years obviously hasn't been working. We've heard what Alvin and Rutherford have said since they've taken over. They've made it pretty apparent that the habits, the culture has been so bad here. And I think he's not, I don't think they were saying that based on like the personalities, like these people are toxic people. No, I just think they're nowhere close to working as hard as they should be working. It's too lackadaisical. How do you say that word? Lackadaisical?
Lackadaisical, I think.
Lackadaisical. One of those. It's just too much of that. There's no championship pedigree here. There's no, like, they're just talking about it, but they're not walking the walk. So again, start skating in June. And I sound like such a hypocrite too, because I feel like if I'm gonna again be shouting out this, preaching this, I got to be working harder in the gym, bro. I got to be skipping rope every day. So I'm going to do it, okay? I'm going to be skipping rope every day from this point on. And in exchange, I need the hockey players who represent Vancouver, the West Coast, the best coast of Canada, to bring it and bring it now. Locked On Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. Let's cut to break. And after break, Comment Corner, the best part of the show, because we're fans. And this is a fan-first program. Again, Locked On Canucks. You're back on Locked On Canucks. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. You touched on this a little bit about JT Miller getting a personal chef. I got dreams in life. I want to go places. I want a lot of green in this thing called life. It's gonna happen, right? That being said, I love cooking. I don't like cleaning, but I love cooking. I mentioned the cleaning thing too because I want to say this. I'm gonna be up in life. The people around me are going to be up in life. But at the same time, I don't think I want anyone in my house that's not family, that's not friends. I'm not saying the chef can't be my friend. I'm not saying the cleaner can't be my friend. I'm just saying, nah. When I get home, it's the circle and the circle only. I don't need that. How about you? How do you feel in that regard?
I'm the same as you. I like to cook. I was thinking, like JT Miller's got 3 kids. And sometimes,
and he's a professional athlete. It's different. His job's different.
Well, sometimes I think too, like life is busy. Like wifey's running around, I'm running around. Like, damn, to have a chef just like cook your meals. Like, yo, that's living a life, though, man. But if life wasn't like smoking busy, then I would just rather cook for myself.
Yeah, just one of those things, man. The house just seems like the place to not just disconnect, but be more than real. Just be, I don't know what that word is, but. Just keep that circle small. Anyways, Comment Corner on Locked On Canucks, my favorite part of the show. Let's read some comments from the last episode. What do we got here? Okay, we got Kevin. Look at what he said here, okay? Maybe people should wait to judge Horvat. take the sports aspect out of the equation, and you have a family man who went into the season playing with uncertainty. He finally gets traded, and he has to unload his family to the U.S. Blah, 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 blah. It was hard for Horvat, okay? Maybe that's why he put up 2 points in 6 games, okay? He's going through a lot. Family, a new time zone, right? The water probably tastes different in New York, too. You get what I'm saying? It's hard. It's not as easy. I'll tell you that much for free. It's not that easy.
Yeah, I got a few thoughts about.
I want to ask you this though, okay? Like again, let's take the sports out of it. You're more human than me because you have a family, bro. You made human beings, okay? You've unlocked this new level of life. You're actually like a real human being, okay? Have you ever felt guilty for anything that you said or written?
It's a great question. Honestly, not off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's an inflated ego, but no, I'm trying to put myself in Horvat's shoes. And to be honest, like if I was about to move my family across the country, like, yeah, it's difficult to do. At the same time, this guy probably could have stayed in Vancouver if he wanted to sign for $6.5-7 million a season, and chose to say, no, I want to get paid $8.5 million a season. Trade me. So in that case, I do not have a lot of sympathy, man. And that's again, these guys are humans at the end of the day, and there is that human element, and it's tough to move a young family. Whoever's got 2 young kids, it's tough to move them across the country. But we're talking about guys who are in like the elite 1% of making money. So, and again, it was a choice. It was a choice. I guarantee you that Horvat could have stayed in Vancouver. And again, maybe if his family really wanted to stay and said, "Hey, baby, we can stay in Vancouver, but I'm going to make $2 million less a season." And if they were like, "Nah, let's try a new life," then they would go elsewhere, right? So, and last thing on Kevin's comment there. Again, Kevin, thanks for commenting. Sorry about the voice crack there. He made a comment at the very end about how JT Miller's contract isn't going to age well. I'll tell you that for free. But he's sitting there backing up Bo's contract. Like, come on, that's a double standard, buddy. Sorry, another voice crack. I'm losing my voice today. But
no, you're going through puberty. It's like you're evolving in life. It's one of those things they don't write about. Like when you turn 30, you go through puberty again.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to talk about it now. Now I feel like the government or the Illuminati is going to come after me for saying that, but they don't. I've been going through it too, man. I sound like this now, but when May 16th hits, bro, it's happening. My balls are finally dropping. Okay, next question. Kuzmenko's goal total might take a dip as his shooting percentage will come back down to earth, but his all-around game will be stronger after learning what a year is like in the NHL. And yeah, and has the summer to prepare and the whole Tocchet thing, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Tocchet and Kuzmenko live together, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get a basement suite together just to really go through the struggle, come from the mud, and unlock a new form. The way he talked about Kuzmenko's fitness, it's like Kuzmenko looked like us in a professional
he wasn't
sports
very
league.
complimentary of it.
Yeah, so jacked Kuzmenko is a different Kuzmenko. We also had another comment too. I didn't print screen it, but it was comparing Kuzmenko to possibly Kaprizov, and I like the energy, man. If we're on today's episode talking about Connor Bedard being a Canuck already, I like that energy, man. Kuzmenko takes it to another level. Speaking of which, let's run the draft lottery again. The third time's the charm, right? Boom. Bam! Boom! Oh!
Be good to your neighbors. Be good to your friends.
Oh, man. Your microphone cut out too, man. Everything broke there. Everything broke there, man. It's all good. It's all gravy. It's the end of the show. What are the chances, bro? You cannot write that. You cannot write. I'm at a loss for words, okay? If it happens, and when it happens, you can thank what we just saw here on Locked On Canucks. You can thank Kyle Bhawan and Trevor Beggs. I know we spend a lot of time thanking you, the listeners, the viewers, the people, because you guys matter. And it's growing. The army's growing, yo. The army is growing. But what we just did right now, that proves it, man. This is more than a chance. This is more than a 3% chance. It's already happened. Unbelievable, Beggsy. Finish it. I'm at a loss. I can't even. Bro. I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of awkward because isn't Connor Bedard still 17 years old, and like we're turning 30, and look how crazy we're going, right now. You just like sports is nuts, bro. I was with somebody, and if you watched yesterday's episode, there's a dude sitting right over here, right? There's a dude sitting right over here, and this dude, and I've been working with this guy for a while, but I fired him because he doesn't watch sports. He doesn't watch sports, and he was disappointed that I spent a couple hours doing this a day. He's like, what's the point? That's the point. What we just saw right there, that's the point. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks. Sign us out, Beggsy. We're done.
Well, I hope those of you who tuned into a half hour of beautiful positivity, get that positive energy out in the atmosphere. Connor Bedard, congratulations on becoming a Vancouver Canuck. Can't wait till Monday when the Canucks draft Connor Bedard. Again, shout out to the everydayers. And if this is your first time listening, I hope you had a heck of a time tuning in to this episode of Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Coming up next week, Connor Bedard talk, baby. Newest member of the Vancouver Canucks. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bhawan. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Peace, peace, peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.